in, that means you're feeling the vibe. The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live. Right now, pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope Soul sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, Brooklyn. All my people, you rocking with the chat. Hit that. The like button would tell me where you at. You know, step from the MBK, born and raised up MBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
What?
Dope Soul.
What?
Your soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Hello, Knick family. Tom Thibodeau with an extension. Kolek, the backup point guard to Brunson after, I don't know what, 4 games in summer league. Sims with the jump shot or hook shot, 3-point shot. The Knicks hiring a one of the best big man coaches in the game, so to speak. So we have a lot to talk about today. Shout out to the chat, those who are with us now, those who will be joining later, and of course, the replay game. How's it going, Geoff?
Going great. Ready to chop it up. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm apologizing ahead of time for my audio and video. Y'all know what it is. Still in this little town in Georgia, enjoying myself, but still without the high-speed internet. So let's see how it goes. Let's get right into it, Geoff, and talk about Tom Thibodeau and his extension, and just what are your initial thoughts on it? Do you think it was deserving? Do you think they should have, let him play out that last season and see how the Knicks do next season? What's your thoughts on the extension?
I think it's completely the right move for a number of reasons. First of all, Jalen Brunson loves playing for this guy. Let's not make any bones about that. Jalen wants to play for Thib. So, he's your star player. You want to keep your star happy. He's developed a culture of winning here that we've desperately needed. He put in that baseline of competence where we're going to be the best prepared team in the NBA, game in, game out. We're gonna play to win every game. We're gonna so from that standpoint, I think it's the right move. And just from a historical perspective on what he's done, he's the 4th winningest coach in franchise history. And that goes for the postseason as well. He has, I think, 14 postseason wins that trails only Red Holtzman, Jeff Van Gundy, and Pat Riley. So, and that's what you want to know. Has he won a title yet? No, not as a head coach, but that doesn't mean that he can't ever win a championship. Only one of those guys gets to do that every year. And then if you look at, his overall win total, it's right up there. Again, you're talking about Joe Lapchick, you're talking about Jeff Van Gundy, you're talking about Pat Riley, and you're talking about Tom Thibodeau. The results speak for themselves, and you get a guy who does a good job, and you hold on to that guy. I don't want to be. I hate to bring up football, but I think of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Since 1969, they've had 3 head coaches. That's tremendous stability. That's winning. That's culture. All of that stuff builds upon itself because they're patient with their head coaches, and they realize that they're not going to make a knee-jerk reaction after 10 games or half a season or 1 season. I mean, would have been real easy to say after the 37-win year, Tibbs isn't the guy. We're going to start over. We're going to do something else. But this front office said no. We're not going to do that. We trust our coach. We trust the system. And so I really think this front office and Thibodeau are tied together at the waist. And I think that goes for our star player, too. I think that goes for Jalen as well.
Yeah. Salute, DJ Shuttle.
Salute.
All aboard.
Yeah.
Amen.
Just your thoughts on Tom Thibodeau getting a 3-year extension, well deserved. You think they should have waited another year to see how the Knicks do this season? Just your thoughts.
Nah, he's overachieved. Even the 37 win season was an overachievement when you go back and look at the players that were on that team. To me, he's overachieved every season. I know some people, they must not look at the rest of the league and not see that you don't play 11 players per game, and they want him to divvy up the minutes, and Obi Toppin should have got more minutes per game. And listen, guy's done a phenomenal job. And when you see how much the players respect him and want to play for him, that is all you need to know. So you can't love the players and what the players do, but you can't love the narrative that they have about the coach. So I've been a Thib supporter since he got here, and he hasn't done anything to make me think that he would not have gotten the deal. He deserved it, and as far as I'm concerned, if you don't put him in top 5, he's at least between top 5 and 10 in the league, coach-wise. He's definitely top 10. If you don't want to put him top 5, okay, all right, I'll let you have that. But he's not lower than 10, that's for sure. And I love the stability. I read, saw a stat they had about Knicks coaches that have had second contracts. Like, you can't name a coach with a second contract since the 70s or the 60s. So, to Jeff's point, I appreciate the stability. It sets a tone so that whoever is the next person that comes here, now you really have a Knicks way. You know what I mean? Hopefully.
Right.
Hopefully. But when you have, now we're going on we're gonna be what, season 5, 6, 7, 8. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, if he does these next additional 3 seasons, man, that'll be incredible. And I mean, and right now we on course with the age of the players, with the camaraderie, with the play style. Like, we're on pace to be top 2, top 3 competitive in the East for the next 4 years. And
Yeah, for sure.
And with this coach, I don't see any reason why it should differ. And let's go Tibbs.
Yeah. Do you think the 3-year extension, or it only being 3 years, has to do with his age, or the fact that they want to see what they feel like this team is built to win, and this year and 3 more years is enough to um, get it done? Or do you think it was a little bit of both?
I think it's possibly a little bit of both, but I think it's more so the age factor, because they added 3 years, which means in 3 years he's on his final year. And if you want to revisit it at that point, then you can do so if he wants to continue to coach, if it's time to pass the baton. But I mean, he's getting up there, man. He's not a young guy. So he looks strong though, and he looks like he could handle another 3 to 4 seasons. But Father Time will run up on you quick. Here, get over here. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You used to run up and down them steps, and you get to them steps, you're like, yo, you know what? Let me hold on to this rail real quick. And you know what I mean? Like, it just happens real quick. So I think 3 years, additional 3 years is respectful. The amount of money he's getting is way more than respectful. So, yeah, I mean, listen, we see you in 3 years on the final year, man. If you still want to even coach, I mean, Not many coaches are going to be coaching at the age that he will be at that point. Greg Popovich is, he's one in a million. You know what I mean? You don't have too many coaches like that in the league these days. Most of the coaches are young now.
Right. Geoff, what's your thoughts on the 3-year extension?
I think it's about right because the 4 years total on the contract kind of falls in line with Jalen Brunson's contract and with everything else that we have going on. And so I don't think that's an accident. I think Shuttle makes a great point. He'll be 70 by the time that 4th year comes up. So we don't know if he's going to basketball is his life. So it would feel weird to see him step away, and hopefully he keeps doing a great job and we just let him coach until he doesn't want to anymore. That would be my hope. But I think 3 years is about the right number there. I think when you're starting your rebuild, extra years is important because it shows a long-term commitment and a plan. At this point, they're already, the flywheel's already moving. They're already in the right direction. The culture is already set. You have the 3 years and you can revisit it, at any time if you want to. But, there's not any real need from my perspective to go longer than that. I don't think that there's anywhere else he would want to coach other than this job right now. I think he's always wanted to coach for the Knicks as the head coach. So I think he's in his dream job. He's in that situation. And A-Train makes a great point. That's kind of the length of our championship window right now with the players that we have on the roster. So it's pretty much locked him in for those years, and that's what you want.
Yeah, the guy's 66. What do you want? An 8-year deal? What are we really doing here? You know what I'm saying? This guy's gonna be 70 years old. He's 66 right now. He's gonna be 70 when his contract's up. Listen, Joe Biden just told y'all, listen, I'm not gonna be president next time. I'm not even going for it. You know what I mean? I'm getting old. You know what I mean? This is what happens.
Yeah.
We don't know if he'll be able to stand on the sideline. We don't even know if he'll be able to stand on the sideline at 70 years old. I'm telling you, that Father Tom. Sit down.
Undefeated, isn't it, Show?
Undefeated. I can't even defeat it. I can't even DJ the whole party like I used to, Steph. Listen, y'all got to break me up, man. Like 2 hours, 3 hours maybe. But them 5-hour parties, forget about it. I got to bring somebody with me. And you got to open it up. Give me a break. You got to do something. You heard?
Right.
Father Tom catch all of us.
Yeah, you're right about that. There's been some sentiment amongst Knicks fans. I don't know if it's still the same. I'm not hearing as much of it now, but some sentiment amongst Knicks fans that Thibodeau is the guy who's going to set you up, who's going to get you in position. He's not the guy to take you home. He's not the guy to win a championship. Are you buying or selling that Thibodeau will be the coach of the New York Knicks when we win our next championship? Geoff?
I'm buying that. I think he'll be the guy. Mike Malone wasn't a championship coach until he was. Budenholzer is the same way. Wasn't a championship coach till he was. Thibodeau's defense has won a championship when he was the defensive coordinator, basically, for the Celtics when they won with Garnett and Pierce and all of those guys. So is he capable of winning a championship? Absolutely. But you have to be lucky to win a championship. You really, it's there. Things have to fall in place. Like Boston had a great run, but they also had all of the major competitors lose at least one player to injury, right? And so, their path was a lot easier. So they had, not to take away from what they did, but they had fortune along the way. We saw this year that in reverse in Knick land. We were unfortunate with our injuries. Otherwise, we would have been in the Eastern Conference Finals. And you get there, and who knows? You just, you just see where the chips fall. But yeah, I definitely think that, it'd be. I think Mark Jackson is the comp there that people use, but I think he started to wear on some of his players, and that's one of the reasons why he had to go. But
All right, Jeff.
I don't.
All right, Jeff. Jeff, you my guy. You talking about Mark Jackson though? Me and you gonna have problems, Jeff. Talk about Mark Jackson, me and you, Jeff. I might have to find you, Jeff.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Shuttle. I don't remember. I just know that something shady was going on in Denmark between the front office and Mark and the team.
Yes.
I don't remember exactly what it was. So put me in my place and correct me if they weren't happy with him or if I'm just misremembering, because that's entirely possible.
Hey, all you hear is Clay and Steph, the two players that matters the most, speak nothing but glory of Mark Jackson. And if it wasn't those two, it didn't really matter.
Okay,
I think it was the front office.
It
was the front office.
Yeah, and it was the front office. I don't want to jack your show of stuff talking about why. If you want to talk about why, it sounds like you know, but there was a front office issue.
It was a front office issue
with lifestyles and how he felt about people's alternative lifestyles.
Okay, I remember that now. Okay, I got you. Okay, so but that makes the point even stronger then. I mean, so if that doesn't get in the way, then if Mark Jackson is there instead of Steve Kerr, you're going to tell me that the Warriors as constructed don't win a championship? I don't necessarily believe that. I don't think Kerr is a better coach than Mark Jackson. I'll say that right now. I think he's extremely overrated.
Now you back on my side, Jeff. Now you back on my side, Jeff. I'm gonna ring the bell in agreement of that. I'm gonna ring the bell in agreement with that, because why can't Coach Tibbs take a team that now has top tier competitive NBA caliber players to the championship? Why can't he? I mean, yeah, he had the great Derrick Rose, but Derrick Rose was great for like 2 seasons. Then he got hurt. And he had Yannick Noah. He had Yannick Noah and Luau Deng. Like, like y'all thought he was gonna win a chip with that. Y'all don't want Cat. Y'all don't want Cat. Y'all don't want Towns, but because you don't like Towns, but Thibodeau was supposed to win with Towns. That's what kills me with people. They want to have it both ways, Steph.
Yeah.
They want to have it both ways. They don't like Towns and they don't want him, but the coach was supposed to win with him. They hated Noah because he was, what he was, but Tibbs was supposed to win with that guy. That guy was a little. That guy was, Sims basically. Yannick Noah. Come on, the guy was basically Sims, a little bit better. Come on. This is a real roster now. This is a real roster. I mean, we looking at Boston. We want Boston. I'm gonna keep that chant going. We want Boston. We want Boston, number 1 seed. There's no reason why this team, if healthy, would not be in contention for the number 1 seed or going up against Boston and or Philly. No reason.
I agree with you. Do you think then now that Thibodeau was on the clock, so to speak, before he didn't have the roster, people were talking about, oh, he should be fired. We should be doing this. We should be doing that. And we could always point to the roster and be like, what's your expectations with this roster? Right now, though, the Knicks are more than solid. Obviously, we have to shore up that backup center position, and I'm pretty sure we will. And maybe not. When you see the Twitter Sims, we'll talk about that later. But do you think Thibodeau is on the clock now? Let me ask it a different way. With this team, the way it's assembled, say we get a backup center, how many years you giving Tibbs before you feel like he's on the hot seat if we don't win a championship?
No, this team got to be at least what the 90s teams were that were going against Boston and that were going against the Bulls and the Heat. It has to be, if you're not winning it, it has to be like, yo, wow, like you are on the edge of your feet. You thought the team was right there, a Ray Allen type shot for Miami against the Spurs. It has to be like
finger roll.
It has to be like you're really this close if you're not winning it, and the other team is really stepping up, doing something really significant, and it's not like you didn't call a timeout to strategize a play, and something like a Starks, and you didn't put Devo in, and you let OG shoot 3 for 22. You know what I mean? Like, if it's not anything erroneous like that, then I think he's okay as long as the team is in competition for a top seed, 1, 2, at least 3 minimum, and it makes at least second round runs at minimum, and is also looking at East Coast Conference Finals. I mean, I'm looking at East Coast Conference Finals this year. Like, I'm not really trying to hit less than that, but if it's less, it gotta really be like, I respect what happened, but I'll be judging very harsh and critically myself.
Yeah. Paris, I think you're asking for a lot. I don't think it's Thib's job to keep OG and Mitch uninjured. Those guys seem like they get injured just walking to the concession stand,
You might as well fire him now if that's the standard.
That's the bar.
Don't even give him the extension if that's the bar. That's just not
right. But I hear you.
Mitch falls down so much. I don't know who the coach is, but whoever the coach, I don't know him by name, but I believe from Marquette, not currently, but a few years ago, he was at Marquette. He had Dwayne Wade when Dwayne Wade was there.
Oh, yeah, I know you're talking about Cream.
And he was talking about like your core, working your core area so that you have great balance. Like, Mitch, forget about Coach Tibbs. Like, he needs training, and this training doesn't really happen with the team during the season. These are things that top tier athletes do in the off season. They find out where their weaknesses are and they work on them. Parrish Duggar, respectfully. Mitch has to get a trainer to get him away from the 3-point line and on the court, working on his core so that when people hit him or he bumps into things and people, he's not falling on the floor. Tibbs can't control that.
Right. It's gotten better over the years, though. But I hear you. And I'm kind of encouraged because I have yet to see one Mitchell Robinson workout video, and I would like him to keep it that way, unless I missed it.
I've seen another one of his 3-point videos.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I'm like, man, listen, let's work on foul shots first. No more 3-point videos. Let's work on foul shots.
Yeah, they probably know video. He probably is, but there's no video of it.
I don't want to see. I don't know 3-point videos. Only foul shot videos and physical training, working out so that you're stronger, so that the fans don't think it's the coach's responsibility to keep you from getting hurt.
Right.
He has to get tougher.
Right. Any other thoughts on Tom Thibodeau? Do you guys have any questions to ask or any other comments on Tom? Geoff, you talked about something before we got on air, and it's something I've talked about before and I really believe in. There's some fraction of the fan base who feels like this year is championship or bust. And listen, the Knicks very well they're built to win. They can win the championship this year. I don't dispute that. But what I will say is sometimes it takes a little while. Like Boston didn't win that took Boston a few years, even though they had a championship contending roster. Took Milwaukee a few years. It took Denver a few years. You said something that I totally agree with. Sometimes a team underachieves and the front office just has to hang in there, and not overreact, So Boston last year lost, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, with the Knicks, but last year Boston lost, I don't know, in the second round, I believe it was, came back this year and just basically drove over everyone on their way to a chip. So it's not always perfect. But the good thing about Tibbs and his front office is they're in lockstep. They're in lockstep. We got a good window. And what I like about our window is huge. We might be able to get a few chips because of how young our players are, just entering their prime. I think Julius Randle is the oldest player, if I'm, in that rotation, if I'm not mistaken. So, I'm looking forward to the season. I'm super happy for Coach Thibodeau. He was my pick from the start. The Knicks was a hot, and I mean hot mess before he came. And I thought we needed a culture setter first. We needed a culture setter, somebody to reset the foundation, because it was like a zoo what was going on in the Knicks before that. So Leon Rose came, brought, I don't know if that was his friend, whatever it is, it worked for us, and the culture is laid down. I mean, just look at Toppin in Summer League. They asked him a question, he sounded like Thibodeau.
Mid-season form on that interview.
You know what I mean?
The interview was in mid-season form. I loved it.
Yeah. So, it's coach said Leon is the culture setter. You know what? That I don't know about that, because I think the cultures. Hey, listen, we was talking about you, Aj. Like, you want to be late on purpose so you can make a grand entrance.
That's how villains pop in, Steph. That's how the villains pop in.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for being late. I got stuck in a little bit of traffic getting here. So,
well, let me ask the panel this. Yeah, culture is set at the top, but I think on a basketball team, I think it's the coach that has the biggest influence on the culture. I don't know what you guys think. I do think the organization you work for also can set the culture, but I mean that depends on what culture we're talking about. Like, they could be setting a culture of, making sure everybody is taken care of, making sure that, if we trade you as much as possible, we're going to trade you to a place, that's, where you can flourish. That's part of the culture too. We're not going to wait until after you're cut to give out the bags and stuff. We're just going to give it to everybody, that's part of the culture too. But that nitty gritty, how we play, playing for 48 minutes, not caring about possessions, caring about the team, putting the team first, that part of the culture, the coach is the only one that can do that.
I will say, from putting myself in Thib's mind and his head, right, that if you don't bring the right people in, if you don't draft the people that is in alignment to allow you to get to that point where you can put your stamp and your stink on it as the coach, right? Then, it doesn't matter what you can do as the coach if the front office doesn't give you the right ingredients to cook with.
Yeah.
So I think that's what he's referring to, is that Rose and the team is doing a great job of managing the money and drafting the players, scouting the players, and ultimately giving him, the food to cook with, and then that allows him to do everything that you referred to. So that's what I think he's referring to.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because just imagine Thibodeau trying to set the culture we have now. And this is no knock on these guys. They just didn't fit with a Kemba Walker, Cam Reddish, guys that don't fit what he's looking for. You're absolutely right. It's going to be hard to set the culture if the front office doesn't give him the players that fit that culture. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, out here in West Texas, we have a saying is "Por qué no los dos?" Why not both?
Why not both?
Right?
Yeah.
I think it's very much true. And I actually think that this is one of the major differences between this version of the Knicks and ones we've seen in the past. Mike Woodson was a very good coach, but and Carmelo Anthony was an all-star player, an MVP candidate player when at one point, but there wasn't the synergy between what the front office is doing and what the coach is doing and what the players are doing. And we've noticed that when we've made acquisitions from the top that haven't fit the culture, guys like you talked about, Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, when we got those, Cam Reddish, when those guys came in and we brought those guys in, they didn't fit and they didn't advance the culture. And so I think you see that. And I think the other thing that you're seeing is that championships aren't won with 23-year-olds, right? Championships are won with guys who are entering their prime. And we have a team 27, 28, 29. You're all in that range where you've got that maturity to not only understand the culture, but to enact that culture. And you have guys like Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges and Dante DiVincenzo and Jalen Brunson who exemplify what the coach wants to do. And so when you have that synergy between front office, the coach, and the players, that's when you have culture. The 2013 Knicks didn't have culture because they didn't have that synergy from top to bottom. But I think that it's right that yes, it's the front office, yes, it's the coach, and yes, it's also the players for buying in. Every single one of the players has bought into what Tom Thibodeau wants to do. So I think all of that is combined into one package, and that's what makes your culture.
Yeah, totally agree. Ajay, we won't punish you for being late. We'll give you an opportunity to talk about Tom Thibodeau's extension. Just your thoughts on it. Do you think 3 years was appropriate? Do you think it was because of his age that he got 3 years? Or as A-Train said, that's basically our championship window? Just your thoughts on all of it.
Well, first of all, salute to you, Queen, Shuttle, Geoff, the chat, of course, on fire. But y'all gotta hit that like button because right now we're like running 50% behind the total amount of listeners. So let's catch up with that. Basically, half the people in the chat have hit the like button. Queen, I don't know if you've hit. Geoff, you hit the like button. Shuttle.
I'm scared to open another window. I got to be honest. Let me.
I just hit it, villain.
So much bandwidth, Let me do it on my phone.
All right. So Thib's extension, I think it's all of the above, Queen. I think not so much his age, but I think the championship window, it is fair. And our front office is very conservative. They're very cautious. Okay. Friendship aside, I mean, these guys, they're very close friends and they work together, very close associates. But still, if you're Leon Rose in the front office, you have a business to run and you got to be cautious. You don't know what's going to happen in the next, few years. And everybody's contract, I think there's some sort of player option or front office option or team option in that same window. So everything's in lockstep, right? I don't know what the money is, but it sounds like a perfect situation. Obviously, this is what we call a team with Thibs players, right? If shit goes wrong the first year, the first season, you're not going to blow it up and start over, right? You're going to stick with it and you're going to, because, the coach and the players, they all work together. They all gel, right? And a lot of credit to Tom Thibodeau because the culture, the Knicks culture that we have right now is all him. Well, not all him, but it started with him and then, trickled down, translated to the players. So he is the head of that quote unquote culture. So it's the perfect situation. Give him another 3 years extension, whatever the money is. I don't know what it is, but that's that window. Right. And I feel pretty good about that window. I think something's gonna pop, man. I think we're gonna get that ring in that 3 years.
Well, wow. That's coming from you. I know initially you were very critical of Tom Are you buying or selling that when we win the championship, it's going to be with Tom Thibodeau as the head coach? Or do you think he's just a setup guy?
No. So, like I said, this team is built with that coach, with this coach, and I mean, it all works together. So you're not gonna take, let's say, I don't know, Kenny Atkinson and put him with this group, and he's not gonna do better with this group than Tom Thibodeau would have done.
Right.
Okay, so it's just, I mean, this is a group that perfectly matches Tom Thibodeau's style of play, and you know, he takes a lot of slack for playing the players too much. When you hear those players, they tell you they want to play. They don't want to get off. These guys don't want to lead. They don't want to take the break when he's calling them off. They try to shoo him like, no, I'm good. So, you know, this is the perfect match for Tom is the perfect match for this group of guys. This group of guys, that's the guy they love. I mean, that's who it's perfect. And the 3 years, like I said, is very conservative. And I think it's very calculated because in 3 years, everything's going to happen in that 3 years. And, you know, contracts is going to start expiring. People are going to be up for renewal and stuff like that. Everything's 4 years, 3 years plus player option, 3 years team option. And it's all within that same window. So it was very well calculated on the Knicks front office part. So I have no problem.
And I take it they'll be extended soon as well, right? You're not going to be able to have the owner extend a coach that you hired and you not get extended, right? So I'm pretty sure their extension is coming at
yeah,
some point.
that's probably being worked out already. We just don't know about it yet, but that's to me that's a done deal. Yeah. Just like that front office is also the perfect match for Tom Thibodeau and those players. Like it all works together.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a good situation.
Yeah, it really is. Anything else about Tom Thibodeau before we move on to the next segment? You just check in with the
listen, so I've seen a couple of the shows, you know, not just Thib's show on the roommates, but then Jalen Brunson, a couple of interviews. These guys, they really appreciate Tom Thibodeau's work ethic, and his ways, his methods, and I think it's like he puts an extra battery pack behind those guys' back. He makes them play harder. No, he really does. And you couldn't ask for a better situation than players who actually want to play for the coach. Not just the coach, but they want to play for each other and with each other. You know, it's just a listen, not until we get the ring, but it's from the outside looking in, it looks like the perfect storm of what we have. So the only thing missing right now is get that ring. Like it's all working together.
Can I double down on that, Villain? I think that there's players that want the coaches to make their life easy breezy, and I think there's players that want coaches that are gonna push them to the tilt and you know, maximize their growth and their ability as players, as people. You know, demand the most from them, you know, when it comes to minutes and playing time and stuff like that. And I think that, you know, those are the type of players that this team is. Like, for the type of coach that Tom Thibodeau is, instead of bowing down to you folks that wanted him to play players 27 minutes, they said, no. We're going to give players that want to play 48 minutes. We're not going to listen to you people out there.
Right.
I hated to come out the game. And I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Like, I hated to come out the game. Like, I was in condition to play the entire game, because if you're great and you want to win and you're the best on your team at your position, why do you want to come out?
Yeah.
Come on. Like, of course you need a break here or there. But come on. It's like, you know.
Shuttle. It's like, and people don't realize, like, we see those guys on the court for 48 minutes of playing time, right? But they actually train much harder and much longer hours than that. They train for this moment. They don't want you to take this moment away from them. They train all their lives for this. They want to be on the court. It's surprising to me that, like you said, some players, they want the easy peasy way out. But there are a couple of players around the league who see this. There are a couple of players around the league who would love to be in this situation. Unfortunately, there's just no room for them. Bruce Brown being one of them. Bruce Brown is like a hard knock player. He would love to be here. We already have Josh Hart, so we don't need somebody like that.
Right.
But he's one of those kind of players who would want to be on the court all the time. That's why Obi Toppin's didn't work, because it's not that he's not good, he's not talented, he's good, but he's just not that guy that hard ass guy who want to play 48 minutes. Like, you got a bunch of guys literally who every one of them want to play the entire game. So it's the perfect situation for everybody.
Yeah, Bridges played 83 games 1 year.
Yeah,
Detroit.
Right.
Played 83 games.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's a record that'll probably never be broken.
As my man Straight Live would say, about that life. About that life. You know what I mean? If you're not about that life as a fan, shame on you, especially if you're from New York. And especially if you play ball too. How many full courts? Man, listen, I don't know where y'all from, man, but where I went on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, you go to the rec, you play that first game, we playing full court, and we ain't coming off.
That's right.
You win a game, you go get some water, you take a piss, you get back on the court in 3 minutes.
Right. I mean, I think what the fans are saying, of course the players want to play, but it's up to the coach to save them from themselves. I'm not saying I agree with that, but
Thank you, Queen. I was kind of giving you the side eye.
But I think that's what some of the fans are.
Look at how these guys talk about their diets. Like, they take this stuff extraordinarily seriously. That's one of the things that I've seen from the Roommates podcast, is that Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson, they're very cognizant of what they put into their bodies and what they have to do on their recovery days to make sure that when game day hits, that they're in the right physical condition and they have the right fuel in their body. Now, I don't know where Mike and Ike's fit in all that, but for the most part, they're in the right condition and they're fueling themselves the correct way so that they can do those sorts of things. It's not just saying I want to do this. It's preparing to do that. And as Shuttle often says, that happens in the off season. You don't get to that place during the regular season. It takes an off season of training your body and getting ready and preparing for a marathon that the NBA season is. And people, lost their minds. Like, the commentators were losing their minds when these guys were playing all these minutes, but that's what they prepared for all regular season. That the regular season was the preparation for being able to do that in those moments in the playoffs.
Right.
And not just that, to add to your point, Geoff, about recovery, or if that might have been Shuttle, the team is in lockstep when it comes to recovery. They barely practice during the season. So you're preparing your body, focusing on your food, focusing on your training, focusing on recovery. Then when you get to the season, the team is also focusing on your recovery, because after you play 48 minutes, 42 minutes or whatever, unless you're playing a back-to-back, you might have a day off, 2 days off. You're not practicing. Like Josh Hart said, when the season started, that was the end of practice. Everything else was walkthroughs. It was more mental. If Brunson does this, this is what you should do. If this player does this, this is what you should do. There wasn't a lot of practice. So the team is focused on their recovery as well. Now, if they're focused on their recovery, eating well, recovery, and then you come to a team that's going to run you 48 minutes, and then you're going to have full court practices for the 2 days, then go back and play. Now, whoa. But that's not what's happening. So the most important
Jeff Van
thing,
Gundy and Pat Riley.
Van Gundy and Pat, right? The
2
most
days.
important
2
thing, from
days.
what I'm understanding, listening to the players on the podcast and on Twitter, the most important thing is not how many minutes you play in a particular game, but do you get enough recovery before you have to do it again? Like, that's the most important thing. And you know, you can argue with the injuries that maybe that maybe they're not getting enough recovery. But I'm not sure those injuries were like overuse, lack of recovery injuries.
The only one that could probably be attributed to that is Josh Hart. Uh,
The
the
abdominal
abdominal
strain.
strain for not just having enough time to recover.
Right.
Everything else was just like oopsies, man. It's just like that ish happens during the game, you know.
Yeah, Bogdanovich injury was a freak injury.
Yeah, Mitch
Forgot all about that.
Mitch wasn't a freak. It was done on purpose. It was an attack.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean Randall was what was it
Freak
like?
injury.
Yeah, the arm, and OG hamstring. I mean, that could happen in the first 2 minutes of a game. Like that's not really.
Yeah, it's not like OG was overused. Like he OG sat a lot of games. It's not like
He was out quite a while.
Yeah.
And so listen,
You talk about rolling the dice, and we talk about Mitch a lot.
I didn't
We don't
even
talk
mention Mitch
about
just
OG
now.
as much when it comes to the same type of injury history.
That's
the only
because
thing
we got an OG replacement.
we have a contingency plan for
You put Bridges
OG.
in his spot and you start Dante, and
Right.
I'm not gonna say you don't miss a beat because you're not gonna have the same wing stop, dual threat defense. But you're not like, oh no, what are we gonna do now?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But right now, if Mitch goes down, it's literally oh no.
Like you barely miss a beat. It's a listen.
Yeah, I don't want to undervalue that because the opportunity to have the wing stop defense tandem of these two guys, I think can wreak super havoc. I think this could wreak some super havoc. So yeah, it's great that you have somebody like Dante to get in there, and it's gonna be you could be successful, but it won't be the same.
No, I hear you.
The league don't want none of that.
The league does not want OG and your boy 83 games out there together.
They don't.
That's what I call Bridges. I call Bridges 83.
Okay. All right.
How many players play 83 games in the season?
One of one.
All right, let's move on to the other topic that was in the news, which was a surprise to me. So I'm interested in you guys' takes on it. Me and DJ Shuttle text about it, so I kind of know where he stands. But there was news coming out of summer camp that Kolek, based on his summer league performance, is now penciled in as the backup point guard for Jalen Brunson. So in 5 summer league appearances, he averaged 9.6 points and 7 assists. And he was one of only 4 prospects to dish out at least 7 helpers a game for those who've played at least a minimum of 4 games. Before we even talk about the rotation and your thoughts on that, just give me your impressions of Kolek, if you had any, before summer league, and if he met your expectations in summer league. Shuttle, we'll start with you, Geoff, and then Ajay.
As you know from some of our chats before the draft, I'm watching film like a crackhead. And I saw plenty of film on Kolek before the draft. I saw a few games with him the past 2 seasons. I thought the team needed a point guard. It was kind of 50-50 if they would, pick up a vet. So, it's like, they probably might not pick up a vet. So let's draft somebody that could potentially, start. I love Deuce as much as anybody. And, I just don't think he is the point guard that, you really want at this point with this team. If something were to happen to Brunson and you need somebody to get in there. So I was very high on Kolek going into the draft. I was ecstatic to get him, especially getting him in the second round. And I mean, he did even better than I expected in summer league. I don't look at summer league to say, this is, indication that players are going to be out the league, in the league, all NBA or anything like that. But, to just see a player just, more than anything, he was cool, he was calm, he was collected. He did what needed to be done at clutch time. He made spectacular passes. He made great, simple, basic passes. And, that's a great way to ingratiate yourself amongst a team of vets that they can look at you and be like, okay, the young boy's going to come in. We can play with him because there's no better way to play with OGs and vets than being somebody that can get them the ball. And not only does he get them the ball, he gets, I mean, if you can get the ball to players like Washington, Pacome, Dimitro, and these guys, if you can get the ball to them the right way, I can only imagine what he would do with Bridges, with Randall, and these type of NBA vets. I'm excited and I'm looking forward to seeing, some stability at backup point guard now with him, for the next few years. That's how I see it.
Okay. All right. Jeff?
Well, I love Tyler Kolek. I agree with Shuttle. I think he had the best assist to turnover ratio in summer league history for someone who had upwards of 35 assists, which is saying quite a bit because that's a guard's game. There's a lot of sloppy play. There's a lot of turnovers. For him to be that precise with his passing and to control the ball and not turn it over in that environment is super impressive. And then you've got the lefty who, makes the plays go into the basket, and it seems like he gets into the lane. And even though he doesn't have the greatest quickness in the world, he just, well, you know what? He's got the perfect mentor for that in Jalen Brunson, because Brunson can teach him a lot about the game. And I think he's the perfect person for Kolek to learn behind. Now, I don't know that Kolek is going to get a ton of minutes this year. I just think that our second unit play without an additional point guard because we've got to get Dante DiVincenzo his minutes. And you've got a lot of secondary ball handlers that can kind of, if you have Deuce and Dante, and I'm just going to say Randall or Bridges, one of those guys out there, you have guys who can, handle the backup role for a few minutes of ball handler. So I don't know that it's going to be this year for him to really make an impact. But I'm reminded of what Derrick Rose said about Deuce McBride when we had injuries, and then he had that one really nice start. I forget who it was against, maybe the Houston Rockets. I think he dropped 18 or something like that. And he said, we already knew because we were in practice with him every day. And I think that this year he's going to be a really great practice player. If he's called upon, I think it's going to be because of injury. I wouldn't be surprised if he winds up ahead of Campaign on the depth chart if he's not there already. From that standpoint, I'm high on him. I don't think the Knicks are going to sacrifice Deuce McBride minutes to make sure that Kolek gets burned. That's just my opinion.
Okay. All right. Ajay?
I agree with Jeff. Kolek, he played well in the summer league. It was pretty impressive. I don't see him getting a lot of minutes. I don't know. Whatever that report says, I don't think that's going to happen.
Let me read it. This is where things stand with the projected rotation. This is Ian Begley, SNY. This is where things stand with the projected rotation coming out of Summer League. Rookie Tyler Kolek is currently the backup point guard ahead of Payne, per people familiar with the matter. At the moment, he is viewed as this is Payne. At the moment, he is viewed as the third lead guard behind Kolek, who had a very strong summer league. So that's the statement, Adji, you were referring to.
Yeah, that I don't buy that. I don't know. Somebody in the chat mentioned they building somebody for somebody's value for something. It's just it's Tom Thibodeau's not going to do that. Are you kidding? You have campaign like a veteran. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Campaign's going to spend a lot of time in the G League this season. To
Campaign or
I'm
Kolek?
sorry, Kolek. Kolek is going to spend a lot of time in the G League this year. I just don't see it. I just don't see him getting a lot of minutes over campaign. Between campaign and Deuce McBride, those are going to be that's going to be your guard rotation. Those three guys, like for the one, okay, and then they'll interchange sometimes throw Deuce at the 2 or DiVincenzo at the 2. Depending on the game, depending on our injury situation, and so on and so forth. I don't see that happening.
May I ask a question, Steph?
Absolutely.
So, Mr. Villain.
Yes, sir.
Do you not think it's paramount that the Knicks get a center? And do you think that there's somebody that's of greater value that the team can get on free agency, or that it'll be someone greater that they need to get via trade? And that's important because I think Deuce's contract allows him to get somebody like Richards from the Hornets, where the $5 million matches up. And when you have the point guard depth of campaign that's now on the team, a quality, even though he's a rookie in Kolek, and you already have Dante as the backup shooting guard, like, if you got to figure out who to get rid of, who to keep, obviously it's not going to be campaign. You can't trade Kolek. I guess you could trade Kolek, before the season starts, but you probably don't want to trade him over Deuce. He looks like a better point guard backup.
So if that's the case, then it's a different situation, right? If you got to use Deuce in a trade for a valuable 5, that changes the equation. But currently, right now, the way we have it, I don't see it. I don't see Tom Thibodeau giving Kolek tons of minutes over campaign or Deuce McBride at the guard rotation. And you got to realize, so he's not, when I say guard rotation, there's no, like, we're not going to consider 1s or 2s, right? We're not going to consider point or 2s. We just call them guards.
Okay.
Because we have that depth like everybody. Even campaign can actually play the 2 guard. You see that, right? He's played that role before. Do you know what I'm saying?
Undersized, but he can.
He's undersized, just like Deuce, but he can play that 2 guard. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't see how Kolek cracked that role, that like get enough minute in that thing. If they get rid of Deuce McBride, there's definitely more opportunities for him at the 1.
If there's no trade, if there is no trade, let's just say they put in Dimitro, or they put in Porty as the third center for the team, and the guard lineup is what it is. I don't believe game 1 Kolek is just getting thrown in there right away, right? They're gonna probably give Deuce some respect, and Deuce is gonna come to training camp. He's gonna work hard. He's gonna do what he does. But I believe the minute Kolek sniffs that court, there ain't gonna be no going back. And if they have to carry 7 guards to keep him on the team, I just think they value him too high, and it's not going to be a lot of him being in the G League. He'll be with the club, ready on standby, break glass in emergency before he's on the G League, I think.
And Shuttle. So it's not a knock on Kolek, right? He is a good player. It's just Tom. I feel like Tom Thibodeau is not going to put him in that position. You got to remember. Do you realize Tom Thibodeau absolutely loves Deuce McBride? He really loves that kid.
He left quickly too,
right? But Deuce wouldn't put him in a position until he felt that he was ready, and he was ready after like getting a lot of burns in the G League and so on and so forth. Not that he's not good. It's just Tibbs. I don't see Tibbs putting him in that position.
But part of why Deuce wasn't ready is that he doesn't have an NBA caliber guard handle. He's not a great passer, and he doesn't have a great handle. And then when he had his opportunities, the 40% 3-point shooting that he did this past season, he wasn't doing that those first 2 seasons. So no handle, no good passing, and you're not shooting well. So you got to go back to the G League and you got to work on that. And I'm just saying that I just think Kolek is coming to the league with NBA ball handling and passing ability that's probably better than Deuce will ever have.
Listen, 100% agreed, but it's all pros and cons, right? So I'm gonna tell you something. Deuce has that Kolek doesn't have.
That defense.
That defense. And guess who's a sucker for great defensive players?
Your boy Coach Tibbs.
There you go. So, and he couldn't crack the rotation because with his defense, he couldn't crack the rotation. So it's just I just don't see. Listen, anything might happen because Tibbs, he's evolved over the years, right? But the Tibbs that we've seen in the past few years, I just don't see Kolek getting a ton of minutes this season. Eventually he will because he's a good player. Looks like I mean, I don't know if he's NBA ready, but he looks like he understands the game. He's a very high IQ, very skilled passer, and he's a pretty good shooter. So he looks like he's on the doorsteps of being ready. I just don't feel like with the guard depth that we have, Tibbs is just going to throw him in that mix, just to throw him in there. I just don't see that happening.
I hear you, but I've kind of conceded that this is going to be required for a trade anyway. So I'm kind of
that would change the situation.
Yeah,
I mean, we're talking about Deuce, but to me, it's really campaign and Kolek, because it's been reported that the Knicks see him as an off guard. This is Deuce McBride. So Deuce McBride is probably the third string shooting guard behind DiVincenzo.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure they're going to play him as the backup point guard. Maybe they will. I don't really see it. I see campaign Kolek, for the point guard position. But when you think about that, you're talking about a 10-man rotation now that I think about it. And I just don't think Thibodeau is going 10. So I think whoever you're playing at that backup one, you're really looking at a combo. Yeah, it's going to be tough.
You probably off rip, despite that Ian Bigley report, you probably off rip get campaign as the backup point guard, with Kolek playing very, very infrequently, and for that matter, Deuce playing very, very infrequently. I don't know. It's just hard for me to see Deuce coming back as the backup one over campaign and Kolek. Hard for me to see it. I see him as back to what he was when Quickly was on the team, and you had Brunson, Quickly, Devo, and Grimes, and then Deuce was the fifth and odd man out. Basically, Deuce's returned back to that role.
Okay. All right. So to the question, are you buying or selling that Kolek will be the backup point guard to Jalen Brunson on opening night? No. Ajay is selling. Geoff?
I'm gonna sell too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sell on that proposition. I just think that he needs more seasoning. I agree with a lot of what Shuttle said, though. I think he has potential, and it's a long season, and injuries are going to happen. And when they do, don't be surprised if Kolek carves out a niche for himself, because there's enough quality wing defense that we can put out there with Kolek to make him playable with the other skills that he brings to the table. As an elite passer, as someone who sees the floor very well, he would fit really well with that backup unit pushing the pace with Josh Hart. He always is looking up. He always puts the ball in the right spot. That's one of the things I love about his tape. Like when he throws that pass, it's right in the pocket. You don't have to take a dribble to get set or anything. It's right in the shooting pocket every time. And that is high IQ, but that's also a great and rare skill. You don't see that with a lot of NBA passers, in my opinion. And he's got that in spades. So start the year, I'm selling, but I wouldn't be surprised if through injuries that if he doesn't creep his way into the rotation at some point. I could see that happen.
That was the next question. Are you buying or selling that by the end of the season he would be the backup point guard to Jalen Brunson? You're buying. All right, Ajay.
If there's no trade, I'm selling. I just don't see it. I don't see.
Jeff?
He's gonna be spending
Oh,
a lot.
sorry,
He's gonna
yeah,
get a
yeah,
lot of
sorry.
G League burn. And which is good. Like he needs the burn. Like he needs the minutes. He's gonna get a lot of the same path, the same way they did with Deuce. He's gonna be doing the same thing.
I'm going to use my stockbroker instincts. I'm going to hold on that.
I'm selling that he's going to be the backup to start the season or by the end of the season. I just don't see Thibodeau, and I personally don't want a rookie backing up Jalen Brunson on a team that's looking to win a championship next season. I just think when you get into the playoffs, you do want that experience behind Jalen Brunson. And some people will say, and I've heard people say, oh, it's just 10 minutes, 5 minutes in the first half, 5 minutes in the second half. But we've seen 5 minutes make a difference in a playoff game. So I want him to get more seasoning. And maybe by the year 2, year 3, I definitely see him in the rotation. He's that good. But I don't want to see him.
We've also seen Christian Brown come in the game and provide quality minutes as a rookie for a championship team. So it's not impossible. Is all I'm saying. It's not.
I didn't hear you. Who did you say?
Christian Brown for the Nuggets.
Yeah, I'm not saying he can't come in for a game but he wasn't the backup point guard. So yeah, I think a rookie can come in and give you minutes. You're not counting on him. He can come in and give you minutes, but there was times when Christian Brown gave them good minutes, and there was times when he didn't. And that's to be expected from a rookie. But if you're the backup point guard, there's an expectation that you come in and you settling the team down. You're making sure that we're getting into our sets, that we're getting good shots. That's a different type of responsibility, even if it's just 5 minutes each half. We're talking about every single playoff game. I don't know if I want to see that.
I know you said, Queen, you said you seen 5 minutes make a difference. We seen 90 seconds make a difference. Not. I mean, we're talking about less than 2 minutes. Game 6 in Miami, Brunson sat for less than 2 minutes. We lost the 8-point lead, and that was it. That was the season. We never made it back.
All I know is I love Deuce. I loved Quickly. I never looked at either one of them and said, I feel great about my backup point guard, that this is a point guard that can get the team into the offense, can settle the rest of the group. You know what I mean? Like I never felt that about either of them. And I love them both. Deuce from the rip and Quickly grew on me. But watching Kolek in college, watching him in summer league is just exactly what he's done for the past 4 years in college.
I'm not doubting his skill set, but for me, I'm talking about the intensity of a playoff game and having to be on point as a rookie and keep your mistakes to a minimum.
If I had to trust him, if we were in a position where we had to trust him for 10 minutes a game in the playoffs right now, and the rest of the team was all healthy, I would feel, as of right now, until he does something different, I'm not feeling like shaky about that.
Okay.
And the fact that campaign is on deck to break glass in case of emergency, if he's having a bad game, is exactly what you need, which is what we needed from the beginning. I thought more than anything was that backup point guard, so that if something did happen to Brunson, you got someone that can step in that position that's not gonna, get the ball and do what Sims did, in the playoffs, and be scary. Like that's the thing. Kolek has just always provided cool, steady hand. And when you're a cool, steady person, you're a cool, steady person on every level that you move to. If you a nervous guy and you're an erratic player, you are probably erratic other places too. If you look at the records, you know what I mean? But he's proven on all high school level, college level to be a clutch player, a clutch passer, a leader. And like when you're a leader, you're a leader. You know what I mean? Like you're not a leader in your 5th year because you had 4 years of experience. You know what I'm saying? Like most people, they tell you, oh no, as soon as he came in, he was clearly a leader. You could sense it. You know what I mean? And the G League players talked about him. It was clear he's the same age as Deuce. It's not like this is an 18, 19-year-old guy coming in.
All I'm saying is the NBA game is different. All I'm saying is if you're trying to win a championship, I personally, where every possession matters, I personally am not comfortable with a rookie because they have to go through growing pain. Like you can't even be mad. Like they have to go through growing pains. They're going to be up and down, and we have to allow that. So if Kolek is the backup point guard and he makes a turnover at a critical point, how are you going to be mad? Like that's just part of the ups and downs of being a first year player. And to Jeff's point, I'm not saying he can't contribute in a playoff game. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I mean, to pencil him in and game out in the playoffs as the backup point guard, 10, 12 minutes a game, I would feel much more comfortable with Cameron Payne, personally. But I hear what you're saying. And listen, I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm just saying my comfort level as we trying to get this chip, I'm trying to lock down as many as many positions as we can with experience. But kudos to him. I've been asking for the Knicks to fill the back half of that bench with players with really good upside, and I think they nailed it with Kolek. I'm super happy that he's here, and I'm super happy, um, to see how he develops. Shout out to Anthony D. Man,
Hey, hey.
Anthony, I'm gonna have to call you. I ain't seen spoke to Anthony in a long time. 10 minutes is about 27 plays. That's not time you give out like that. Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. I don't think the Knicks I hear a lot in the chat about the Knicks possibly trading Kolek. Maybe, maybe he played well in the summer league. Maybe teams may want him, particularly if it's a young team. Um, I'd like to
I
keep
think
him if
they're
we could.
keeping Kolek. I, I I think his contract is great. Um, he's. I don't think that. I don't think they'll get rid of Kolek. I think there are other ways and other avenues they can use to improve the team if they need to. I think that Kolek is in their long-term plans, maybe even more so than Deuce,
Mhm. Yeah.
because he has a clearer avenue toward playing time than McBride does. Because you've got DiVincenzo and Bridges at the 2 spot that you don't need another 2.
Yeah. Yeah. We haven't talked about that at all. Um, e- Whoever's backing up the one really limits the amount of minutes Devo is going to get because
That's why I think it might
basically,
be Devo.
right? Because basically, he's just getting the minutes behind Bridges, and how many minutes is that going to be?
Not
So
many.
between
Well,
Devo and Hart covering the 2, 3, and 4 position, I don't think there's going to be a lot of minutes. And I know we've said that the Knicks have played 9 before, But I'm going to go back and get those box scores. When the Knicks have played 9, those players weren't as good as the players we have right now. And so when you look at those box scores, you might see 9 players, but player 8 and 9 may have played, I don't know, 10 minutes, 14 minutes. Who in this 8-man rotation are you giving 10 or 12 minutes to? Josh Hart? DiVincenzo? Whoever's backing up Mitchell Robinson, but that's not even in the equation right now. So if you're trying to get Devo, at least 26 minutes, 25 minutes, you're trying to get Hart at least 25 minutes, it's going to be hard to do that. If you're using a Payne, a Kolek, or a McBride to back up Brunson. We'll see how they work it out, but I'm with you, Geoff. I see Devo playing backup 1 and 2.
I think that OG is going to come out, and if anybody gets the Kawhi white glove treatment, it'll be OG. And I think he'll come out first, and Bridges will be if anybody's the Iron Man, if you will, minutes-wise, it'll be Bridges. And OG will come out first. Bridges will stay in. Devo will come into the lineup. OG will come back in. Bridges will come back out, and will then come out, and that'll allow Devo, 3, 4, 5 minutes with him, 3, 4, 5 minutes with the other one, and and Devo will probably land somewhere at like 22 minutes a game.
I mean, he was scoring 22. He was playing 22 minutes a game when he was sharing
with Grimes.
He's established himself as one of the best shooters in the league.
Hopefully we can get some small ball and get Randall at the 5, and there'll be a way to be able to get, on some nights, get him an extra, 4 or 5 minutes a game, get him up to 25, 26 minutes with a few minutes with Randall at the 5 to close out some games.
We can do all of that, but the point I'm trying to make is if you're not counting, we're not counting the center position, of course. If you're not counting the point guard position, you're just rearranging chairs on the deck. There's only but so many minutes backing up to 2, 3, and 4. So you're like, oh, we're going to give them a little more minutes at the 2. So that's taking away minutes from somebody, from somebody else. Is the point I'm trying to make. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see how they work it out. Geoff, you wanted to say something?
I'm wondering if that's one of the reasons why they're not in a big hurry to get a backup 5. I think they're saving their pieces in case they need it if and when Mitchell Robinson gets hurt. But I think there may be that is the solution to their minutes problem, is to take those minutes where Robinson isn't in the game and play small, have OG at the 5 on defense and Randall at the 5 on offense, and that way you can be really versatile on that end of the floor and do some really amazing things. And I think this is one of the ways where Thibodeau is really going to have to earn that contract extension that he just had. He's going to have to do some things that we know that he loves having that rim protection for 48 minutes. But I think DiVincenzo's too talented a player. Josh Hart is too talented a player to be playing 12 minutes a night. He's a guy that you need on the floor because he helps you win ball games, and he gets rebounds, and he does all those little things. And Mikal Bridges is going to get his minutes, and OG's going to get his minutes, and so I think that with the minutes crunch the way it is, I don't think they're necessarily in as much of a hurry as we are to quote unquote solve the backup 5 spot, because it gives them more roster flexibility to give these other guys burn. I could be wrong about that, but I'm starting to kind of get a hint out of that, just because there aren't any real other options available, in my opinion, that make a lot of sense.
Yeah. Now, if they do that, then that does open up, because now you're taking minutes from the center position, and then that does open up more minutes for Hart and deep, for the rest of the guys. So if they do that, Geoff, it'll work out. But if they don't do that, I just don't. I can't see Hart playing 20 minutes a game. Or not only that, Hart. If you want to get Devo minutes, and so you have Devo playing 2-3, or playing 2 and bringing Bridges for 3, and Hart playing solely behind Randall. How many minutes is he getting behind Randall? 14.
Or we topping
Well,
minutes.
yeah.
So
know
you
we
got to give him some 3 minutes, right? You got to give him some minutes at the 3. So if you give him some minutes at the 3, then that's less minutes for Devo at the 2 and Bridges at the 3. You understand what I'm trying to say? So they'll figure it out.
Well,
They'll figure it
well,
out.
Hart's minutes were significantly lower in the beginning of the season versus the end of the season.
Of course, but it wasn't 14 minutes though. Behind Randall. Like, how many minutes do you think Hart is going to get in the Hart is a big part. Hart and Devo are a big part of, like, we're better when they're on the court.
We didn't listen. They were who they were when we needed them to be what they were. It's a new team now. We're starting training camp with OG in the starting lineup. We're getting Randall back fully healthy. We're getting now Bridges into the starting lineup. It's a new team. Like,
You still need people coming off the bench playing.
But they don't necessarily need to play 25, 30 minutes just because they play so many minutes before. It's like,
that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I want Devo to play 30 minutes more so than I want McBride or Kolek backing up Brunson. You understand what I mean? I want Hart to get more minutes more so than I want a Kolek or a Payne to get more minutes. That's the point I'm trying to make. I get what you're saying. They're on the bench now. They're not going to play as many minutes as they played last year when they were pressed into starter duty. But they're playing 14 minutes. Why? So Kolek can get more run? So McBride can get more run? Like, Devo and Hart, in my opinion, need to be at 25 minutes. Work it out. They need to be at 25 minutes.
Maybe when you get to the playoffs. Maybe when you get to the playoffs, but I can't see a full season where Devo's got to get in minutes at the 1 just because you got to have Hart play more minutes.
Because we're a better team when Devo was on the floor. So for me, I think we're a better team if Devo is taking Brunson's minutes and you got Devo, Bridges, Hart, name whoever.
Deuce.
We're a better team than if we have McBride or Kolek and whoever else you want to put in. In my opinion,
Devo's got to step up and handle some minutes at the 1 better than he did last year.
Yeah,
because
no doubt about it.
That was a conversation that I recall having before the season even started, and and I think I was even one of the folks that said, "Well, I've seen Devo handle the ball some. Maybe he can play the 1 some, and we're good." You know what I mean? And I think, in all accounts, he kind of underachieved a little bit, kind of in that role, as well as he did in the shooting guard role. I think he underachieved a little. And when you have Campaign and someone like Kolek, I don't think you're going to force yourself to give him minutes at the 1 just because you want his minutes out there.
It's not because we want his minutes out there. It's because we're a better team when we have that type of shooting out there.
I think the answer to that is you got to play small ball and put Randall at the 5. I think you've got to find minutes to do that, and that will be the way to get Devo in there. Give Hart some more minutes, and then when you get some of the injuries, then guys will have a chance to just be able to play more anyway. But days off, stuff like that. But if all things being equal and all things being healthy, Devo at the 1 is not something I think we see a lot of.
Well, if he's playing behind Bridges, he's getting 14 minutes. Because I don't see Bridges getting less than 36 minutes.
OG's not going to get a lot of minutes like that, though. If anybody's
Are
at,
you serious?
For all that money, man, listen.
I think if anybody's at
OG's playing 38 minutes a game, man.
For all that money,
Now,
nah,
we might only get 47 games out of him. But he don't play 38 minutes.
yeah, 40 minutes yeah.
nah, OG's not a 38-minute per game guy. I don't think so.
He asked for money as if he is, so he better be on that court playing that kind of minutes.
I think he'll be efficient. It just won't be 38 minutes efficient. I mean, it's not like he's ever been a 38 minutes per game guy. I mean, 1 year, I'm looking at his stats now, he did 36 minutes the year after the pandemic in 2022. And the year after, again, he was close to 36 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, and last year, Toronto, he was 33 minutes, and with the Knicks, 35 minutes. Yeah, so, I mean, but I don't know. I just think with a player like Bridges who can play some of the same minutes as him, playing that same position, I just think that, the team is just going to value him so much, they're going to give him the white glove treatment.
Okay.
I don't know. That's the way I see it.
Okay. All right. I mean, listen, we just talking right now.
Hyperbole.
Right. We'll see how it works out. And I'm not sure who Ian Begley's sources were when it came to Kolek, but I don't think it was Tom Thibodeau. I could tell you that.
At the same time, Begley's not one of those reporters who you wouldn't trust with what he says either, though. Like if Begley says
somebody told him that. I just don't think it was Tibbs.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Tibbs ain't telling nobody nothing.
He's right. He's right. He's right 90% of the time. So there's a 10% where he ain't right. That's that 10% right there.
And to your credit, Steph, as you told me off air, this is almost a retraction, if you will, to kind of clarify a message or a post that he already put up, right?
Right.
Yes. Correct.
So if you're retracting something, say, oh no, Villain's gonna be the starter. Oh wait. After talking with some folks, it looks like Geoff is actually gonna be the starter. Like you're not gonna do that unless you really spoke to somebody about that.
Right.
And to also hopefully get it right so that when the season starts, your up-to-date account is consistent with what actually truly happened. So
right.
I don't know, Villain.
I mean, listen, it could be right now on paper coming out of Summer League. I just don't think Tibbs would make that determination without training camp and practice and things of that sort. But yeah, I can see it, on paper, given what they've seen, he's ahead of Payne. It's hard to believe, but possible. But I know for Thibodeau, from at least what I've gleaned from him over the years, you're going to have to also do it in practice. You're going to have to also do it in training camp and in preseason games to solidify that spot, even if you are ahead on paper right now. Right.
And there's a world where campaign does that, by the way. There's a world where campaign comes in, plays really, really well, and impresses the coach and does. Look, that's not out of the realm of possibility either. I mean, campaign's a decent basketball player. I mean, he's not going to make any All-Star game anytime soon, but I mean, he can shoot. He can play the lead guard. He's not a terrible defender, from what I understand. So, there's potential for him to. I think there is potential for him to earn a spot.
Yeah.
Especially if he shines when he does get court time, because it's what Thibodeau always says. It's a long season, and you're going to need everybody. because even if OG is a 36-minute a game guy when he's in there, in the 35 games that he's not, you're gonna need somebody else, and that means DiVincenzo gets to move to the starting lineup. Deuce gets minutes. That means all these other avenues open up, and and those points are going to happen throughout the season. I think we tend to, micro analyze like game one and then like project it out over 82, and but it's players are going to miss time, except for Mikal Bridges, because that guy is just amazing. Yeah. Mr. 83. Although I wish his number was 21 and not 1, but that maybe.
He's going with 25. He's going with 25.
Oh, he's 25. 21 would have been better.
And let's not forget Campaign can shoot. He not gonna get any points for form though. But
ugly is sin, but man, he goes in.
Shout out to Julian Blum. Appreciate the super chat. This season coming with the talent we have, and every player has bought in. It's what we need during the game rather than players having set minutes. There's no I in this team this season. Yeah, no doubt about it. I think it's going to be both, though. I think there's going to be somewhat of an initial rotation, somewhat of an initial how many minutes Tom Thibodeau wants each player to have. But to your point, Julian Blum, it will change as the game changes, for sure. For sure. Appreciate the super chat. Anything else about Kolek before we move on to the next segment?
The creator.
All right. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about Jericho Sims.
Where's Jerrell? Shout out to Jerrell. Where's Jerrell?
Shout out to Jerrell. I miss you, Jerrell. Hopefully you're watching on replay. What's your expectation of Sims coming into the season? Playing behind Mitchell Robinson, given what you've seen on Twitter or X, his 3-point shooting, him in the post, turnaround jumpers, hook shots. And as Geoff pointed out, Geoff was very combative on X, as Geoff pointed out, with no defense. I'm like, baby steps. We going for a chip. We ain't got time for no baby steps. I said, okay, Geoff. He's in season form right now. But yeah, expectations of Jericho Sims coming into the season. Yeah. Ajay, let's start with you this time.
That's it. Oh yeah, I did say shout out to Jerrell, because whenever we talk about Jericho Sims,
he might show up.
He might show up. He might pop up. Listen, I hope Jericho Sims. I mean, I don't know. Queen, I'm not expecting anything from Jericho Sims. I see the workout videos. Listen, he's putting in the effort. Hopefully, it could translate into a real NBA game. And listen, it can happen because he has the right physique, he has the right body, he looks like he's strong enough, he's got the right athleticism, the right ability to, he can jump. If he could add a little bit of scoring to his game and a little bit of IQ, he's not a terrible defender, but he's just not a smart defender. Jericho Sims. Sometimes he's lost, and he's been on this team for too many seasons to be getting lost out there on defense, man. I mean, you play for Tibbs. At some point, you gotta get it. Get it. You gotta understand how the defensive schemes work. So if he could, sometimes you just need a big body in the middle, and he's a big, strong, athletic body, maybe. And with the lineup that we have, maybe that's just going to be enough. That's going to be what we need, to just reduce Mitchell Robinson's minutes, if that's what we're going to go in, assuming there's no trade, assuming that's what we have, maybe he'll be enough. But I don't expect him to all of a sudden be a 10 and 10, like a double guy. You know what I'm saying? So if we could get a little bit from him, just that presence in the middle, just to just to make people think twice about getting layups and stuff like that, I'd be happy with that. Especially with the kind of money he makes. But I'm not really expecting anything from him. If we could get something from him, I'll be happy.
Okay. Geoff, then Shuttle.
My expectation for Jericho Sims is going to be salary filler in a trade. That's all I expect from Jericho Sims. Here's a player I haven't seen a lot of growth from since the time that he got here. I thought he showed some promise as a rookie, and then he just kind of leveled off from there. I would love to be wrong, but I think that I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up going out in a trade and then Huck Porty ends up being the third string center moving forward. And I do say third because I think we'll fill in with Focus Achua or someone like that before we give Sims legitimate minutes. I just don't see that as for a team that wants to compete for a championship. I would rather play small than have and I know that's counter to what Coach Tibbs likes, and he always wants the big and the rim protection and all that, but I would much rather play with Randall at the 5 or OG at the 5 and play small ball than play Sims. I don't think he has the court sense to really be the effective defender we need him to be. That's my personal opinion. I'm not a huge Sims fan. He was the 58th pick in the draft, so I never really had like huge high hopes for him or anything, but he's played like the 58th pick in the draft. So, it is what it is.
Okay. All right. DJ Shuttle.
Yeah, it's the lack of court IQ for me. So I have no expectations. I don't want to see any season workout videos shooting 3-pointers. Who's he working out with?
Bibby.
Who's he working out with?
Mike.
Yeah, I got a point guard working out with the center, and they're doing post moves. I'm just trying to figure it all out. I'm confused. I got nothing, Steph. I got nothing. I got no expectations.
Okay. Wow. So are you, well, I think I know the answer to this. Are you buying or selling that Jericho Sims will have a breakout season next year?
Hey, I can't buy it. I can't sell it. What'd you say, Geoff? Hold? I'm keeping my money. I'm not buying it, but I can't sell it either. I mean, if he's on a team, he'll have every opportunity. That's for sure. He'll have every opportunity. And if you can't break out this season, you'll never break out. Wild boy Trey, huh? That's a wild take. Yeah, I mean, listen. Hopefully, Wild Boy's right. I mean, he's had moments, but it's like it looks like he's thinking about playing 2K or Minecraft or something when I see him out there. He just doesn't seem all the way fully engaged to the level that you need to be engaged to be on the NBA floor for a championship caliber team. So, let alone a team that was a 37 win team a couple of years ago. So I don't have any expectations. It's like, whatever he does, if he's great, oh man, it's just considering how nervous I am about Mitch and how much I'm not really team Mitch. I mean, for Sims to come in and play well off the bench for Mitch, if no trade happens, if he starts some games and holds it down 30 plus, if he does what Precious Achua did last year, I'm like, oh man, I'm talking about the games when Precious had to start and he was playing those 35, 40 minute plus games. Mm-hmm. If Mitch goes out and he does something like that, wow, like, yeah. Well, I mean, you listen. See, that's the issue. That's the issue. Deuce. That's why I love Deuce. Even though I'm ready to let him go, still, that's why I love him though, because Deuce was always ready. Deuce stay ready. He might get 5 minutes today. He might not play for 3 weeks. You put him in there, more or less, he's ready. And when I say ready, like he's hustling, he's focused. He might hit. He might hit. He might put a hole in the backboard, but overall, he's still ready though. You know what I mean? And Sims like hasn't felt like made me feel like he's ready, no matter what. When you call his number, and I know some players are like that. Like if they're not fully engaged, they're in the game plan, they know they're starting, they're going to play 25, 35 minutes a game, then their mind is just not in the game. You know what I mean? Some players are like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he's saying a lot right there, but I don't even want to drag that one, Steph.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm holding too. I think there's a chance. Um, but I gotta say, I have not seen much movement in Jericho Sims' game over the first 3 years that he's been here. I mean, not I don't see like an inch um, of improvement from that first um, season, and maybe I'm just missing something. I can't say that when he's in the game, I'm just laser focused on him and what he's doing. But part of you know the disappointment at the center position is Mitch potential for injury. But the other disappointment is that Sims is the backup. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, oh my, like that's like a ticking time bomb right there. In terms of what can go wrong. But say what you want to say. Watching, there wasn't any defense. Watching him, work out on Twitter, but his skill set looked good. His skill set looked good. It was an empty gym. It was just somebody passing him the ball. He looked fluid in his movements. His touch, looked good. Um, how that translates when, because processing speed matters. How that translates in a game, you know, we shall, um, we shall see. Um, Apollo Williams, Sims is worse than Mitch on offense.
Mm, mm, mm.
All right. There was something Sherwin put up in terms of minutes. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, well, let me do this first. Julian Blum, I think Jericho didn't get minutes last year, so the misconception from certain fans is he hasn't grown. But Tibbs on numerous occasions said otherwise. He did say it, but the eye test didn't back Tibbs up. And Tibbs is my guy. But oh, here it is. Here it is. Starters all get 34 minutes, except for Mitch, 28. That is 164 minutes. There will be 76 minutes left for the bench players. Dante and Hart, 25 minutes. Sims gets 16 minutes. Deuce gets 10. 76 minutes total. And that's your 9-man rotation. And I think if we go back and look at when we were playing 9, that the 8th and ninth guy got that like 16 and 10 or 12 and 14. They did not get a lot of minutes. Thank you, Sherwin, for this and that's with 34 minutes. If the starters get 36, then the minutes go down
Then
even
go
further.
through 10 boost minutes.
Yeah, but thank you for let me screenshot this for working this out. I think Jeff, you said something about this on the other show as well. All right. Anything else on Jericho Sims? I have one more segment. No? All right. Let's talk about the Knicks coaching staff. There's been, Maurice Cheeks. For those who don't know, Maurice Cheeks he's a championship guard on the Philadelphia 76ers. I think they won back in 1983. Very solid, you know, um, defensive minded point guard. And he's been in the NBA, if I'm not mistaken, as an assistant coach ever since. And he may have had an
He,
opportunity as a head coach at one
he
time. I
was a
don't.
head coach at some point. I
He
remember.
was a head
Yeah,
coach.
he was.
Okay. So he was actually hired before Johnny Bryant left for Cleveland. And then yesterday or the day before, Mark Bryant, he just wrote down a few things about him.
Yeah, and while you look that up, Steph,
Mhm.
I should point out, I think I heard you mention point guard. He was actually a center.
Who's that?
Mark Bryant, you were mentioning?
Yeah. No, I think I think I was talking about
Mo Cheeks.
Maurice Cheeks at the
Oh,
time.
yeah. Okay.
Okay. So Mark Bryant, 59 years old, from New Jersey, played for Seton Hall, I believe. Last season he was on the Detroit Pistons bench with Monty Williams. Um, he was assistant coaches for Dallas, Orlando, Seattle, Oklahoma City, Phoenix, then Detroit. He reunites with Mikal Bridges when he was in Phoenix. And DeAndre Jordan, I'll see if I can get that quote, has some pretty nice things to say say about him. Just your thoughts on what the Knicks are doing, or if you think the Knicks are doing, like, it's just the best player available, or the Knicks like really targeting trying to level up their assistant coaching staff. Just your thoughts on Mark Bryant, Maurice Cheeks, and just the Knicks strategy in general. Jeff, we'll start with you, DJ Shuttle, and then
I
Adji.
actually really like Bryant. I think that's a good hire. I mean, that's something I think this staff's been lacking, unless you're just a big Othello Harrington fan. Um, I think it's good. What I've read about him is his strength. And that's important because, like, when you're coaching a guy and you're going up against him in practice, and they said that Steven Adams couldn't move him. That's how strong he is. So, you know, he's older, but still, when you have that old man strength and you can push back on these guys and hit and hack and be physical, I think that's a big advantage, and I think that's a great, useful teaching tool. So I'm kind of excited to see how, like, again, with our centers, I don't think there's any hope on God's green earth that we're going to turn either one of the Sims or Robinson into an offensive threat. I just don't see that happening. I think they are what they are, especially at this point in their careers. I don't hold out much hope for them adding a bag at this point. But if you can, I do think that you can help with core strength and being tougher and being stronger. And I think those are some of the things that Shuttle had mentioned earlier in the show that he wanted to see from Mitch. And so maybe that might be a good fit. As far as Mo Cheeks is concerned, I mean, he's a really smart basketball guy, former Knick point guard, I guess. So from that perspective, although I think, was it Rod Strickland that we traded to get Mo Cheeks? So I'm not sure I've forgiven him for that.
Right.
But no, Mo Cheeks is a good basketball mind, and Coach Thibodeau likes him. And so, not really. I don't think assistant coaches are all that important. I mean, they're not unimportant, but I don't think, oh, well, we've got Mo Cheeks. Now we're ready to win the championship, as opposed to not having Mo Cheeks on the coaching staff. But,
Right.
but I think that he's a highly respected guy. He's a good guy to have in the locker room. And I think Bryant, from a strength perspective, is good, is going to be good for our bigs.
Let me just read this quote before we move on to others. So this was DeAndre Jordan. He taught me a lot of tricks, a lot of things that I need. He basically polished up my game like the cherry on top. Everything I have, he enhanced it and added more to it. It's a major impact to where he evolved my game into an enforcer. Now, DeAndre Jordan came in with some offensive skills. So I agree with you,
Now, I'm
Jeff.
sorry, Steph. I'm sorry, Steph. You had DeAndre Ayton in that picture, and you were saying DeAndre Jordan.
I said DeAndre Jordan. I meant Aiden.
Okay,
I
excuse me. I
meant
just wanted to be sure I was on the same
yeah,
page.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I meant DeAndre Ayton.
Because
Um,
talking about enforcer, it sounded more like DeAndre Jordan,
right,
not
right.
DeAndre Ayton, who's in the picture. And I'm trying to see where we got enforcer with Ayton.
That's what he said. That was his oh, that's not what I'm saying. That was his quote. But I agree with you, Jeff. If a player doesn't have, like, people talk about what Tom Thibodeau was able to do at iHeart. iHeart had some skills already. All right, you want to polish them up, become more consistent, fine, but you got to bring something for the coach to work with. So it's going to be interesting to see what Mark Bryant does with our big guys. Um, Anyone else want to comment on the hirings and what you think the Knicks are doing?
I like it. You know, I think to just point, like it's not like, oh, you got so and so assistant coach, and now we're going all the way. I don't think it's not like football where you get an offensive coordinator that is going to revamp the whole offense. It's not like that. But I do think there's great value in the NBA. Even though there's not a lot of hardcore 5-on-5 practicing, you do get the one-on-one coaching time where some of the same stuff that you do in the off season, like Bibby's doing with Sims, you have coaches that can still focus with the players one-on-one that way, and the head coaches are not really as involved with that stuff as much.
Right.
So I think it's always great having respected vets that played the game on the team, and that's the type of leadership that quality coaches want to have around. And just to double back on my guy Mark Action Jackson, that was also one of the things that happened in Golden State. They wanted certain assistant coaches to be there with him to kind of make it a greater level of great minds on the staff with him, and he wanted to have his guys or who he wanted to have. So I think Tibbs, he's doing well, coach of the year a couple of times. He's got a nice veteran team that are all bought into him. So it's probably a great sense of security where, yeah, bring him, yeah, bring him too. I don't care. Bring all the whoever you guys think are the best guys. And if it makes a difference in one game or two wins, it could potentially be worth it. So I'm always down for veteran leadership on the coaching staff.
Ajay, any comment?
Listen, I whatever. I'm sure
Yeah.
Tibbs has a plan for him. Listen. Othello Harrington is on the coaching staff. I don't know what he does, but he does something,
He was the big
right?
man coach. In one of the articles, they said he was the big man coach last year.
So that's Hans Jericho Sims. Like that's why we have that's why Jericho Sims is the way he. I don't know. Maybe Bryant will bring something better out of it. I don't know. Um, Yeah, listen, what they do in the background, I'm sure everybody chips in, everybody helps a little something. Rick Brunson came in. Obviously, he's very vocal. He helps Johnny Bryant, uh, what's what's his name that went to coach Indiana? Uh,
Mike
um,
Woodson.
Woody when Woodson was here
Mhm.
as an assistant coach, he helped out a lot. So, the more basketball minds you have, the better it is. hopefully Tibbs is open to taking everybody else's input and make it part of his coaching, which he showed to have been doing the last couple of seasons. So he hasn't been as stubborn the last couple of years.
I think that just has to do with him having the players that can do what he
That
wants to
that,
be
that
done.
too. That too. That too.
Steph has been freezing me out of the offense. Free AD. Let's see. You welcome. You welcome to hop on anytime. We wrapping up now. So yeah.
Any
Yeah, I
any
think it always helps to have good assistant coaches. Somebody in the chat, I think was Sherman, said the assistant coaches run practice. I don't know if that happens in the NBA, but maybe it does. Mark Bryan has a good reputation. Maurice Cheeks has a good reputation as an assistant coach around the league. So
as a coach,
listen,
he wasn't a terrible coach either, Mo Cheeks, because it wasn't in Portland. Like there's one team he spent a lot of years with. I want to say it's Portland. I don't remember which team. Oh, he I know he coached Philly also at some point. He played for Philly and coached Philly.
yeah,
Yeah, he had about 4 or 5 years with Portland.
yeah,
Yeah, he
yeah,
wasn't a bad coach.
yeah. The Knicks are leveling up all around.
And that's what I
It's
like
like
to see. That's what I like to see.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Any comment on USA team? The exhibition games they did.
I haven't even watched them, to be honest.
Oh, come on, Knicks fans. I know Jalen Brunson's not on the team, but come on. Yeah, we gotta watch the game. Watch the highlights.
I watched a little. I watched a little, and
Yeah.
It's not a well put together team in my opinion. It's like it's like the NBA team. They're trying to make a super team. You just try to get the best players, and you don't have a great cohesive fit. Anthony Edwards thinks he just needs to be the number one guy. The offense got to run through him. LeBron's 40 years old, still saving the day. AD's probably playing overall better than anybody, but they're still starting Embiid. I mean,
Steph Curry not really being Steph Curry out there either.
Well, because you got LeBron has to dribble the ball a lot. Ant-Man has to have, and that's exactly what I mean about having a team and say, all right, these are when you make a movie, you have the leads, you have the assistants, and then you have the supportings. You know what I'm saying? Like the lower supportings. And you don't do a movie with 8 leads. That's even if you're a mega superstar, you still don't play the role of a lead. You play the role of supporting actor, or you have a small role in the movie. And it's too many stars of this movie trying to be the star of the movie. You have to have like real life bench players, or players, even if they're starters, that they're not stars.
I think they got that like with Drew Holiday and what is it, Devin White?
Derek White.
Derek
White.
Yeah, but like you got those guys, right? But then you also have Booker, you have Ant-Man, you have KD, you have LeBron, you have Steph. You have too many people that need the ball. And then you can't really have cohesive rhythm with people that are used to having the ball. And then now you got to be political. You got to give people minutes. Now Halliburton's getting no minutes. So yeah, Villain, I'm watching. I see what's going on. It's crazy.
But Shuttle, is that's kind of on the coaching staff though, right? Like the coaching staff, they got to manage the game.
It's where it starts at the top, to go back to what we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
It starts at the top with the person that puts the team together. And you have to put a cohesive team together where you're gonna have some guys, they're gonna be DMPs, and they're not gonna be like huffing and puffing. They're gonna know, the offense on this team is gonna run through Steph. All right, guys, it's gonna run through Steph. LeBron, get the ball up. Or LeBron, you come off the bench. When you come in the game, then it'll run through you. We'll take Steph out. When you're in, they'll run through you. And there's a set where we're gonna play. But when you have all these great players that are star players, like everybody's out there trying to prove their own thing.
Yeah. Man, shout out to Coach who says, "Why is Embiid even on that team?" Man, I agree, man. Wasn't he hurt? Like
He's a U.S. citizen. He's a
He
U.S.
was hurt though. That's fine, but he was hurt. He couldn't play for Philly. Julius, he couldn't play for Philly, but now he's on that team, man. If I'm
Philly,
Philly,
he couldn't play. He almost sent the Knicks home. What are you talking about?
Well, he pretended that like he had a Michael Jordan flu game every game. Like, he couldn't function every time. So
he seemed to get stronger as the series went on. I'm like, oh,
if I'm
every game.
If I'm Philly paying him all that money, I'd be like, man, listen, you better not get hurt out there, bro, because you're getting some money back.
Yeah, I think one of the questions that's out there is who's, I know we're gonna say the Knicks, but for those who are not Knicks fans and not Philly fans, one of the questions I keep reading is who's built better to upset Boston. The Knicks of Philly. Of course, we're gonna say we are, but they're doing some. They were like bringing up the rear when everyone's making their move. I'm like, Philly has all this cap space. Like, what are they doing?
Daryl Morey is always going to get something done. That dude, he's a mover and a shaker for sure.
Queen, I don't know who's built better, right? But I'm going to tell you this. Depending on how the brackets fall, if Boston have to go through Milwaukee, through Philly and the Knicks, like if the Knicks and Philly don't cancel one of them cancel each other, if Boston have to go through it, so one of them is going to stop Boston. They're not going to be able to go through all those teams. I don't think. So it depends on how the brackets fall.
That team is built almost perfectly.
Boston,
except for obviously injury. Well, can derail them, but injuries can derail any.
Well, they lucked out last year. They didn't get no injuries. So law of averages. Next year they're going to have a lot of injuries. Next season.
KP was injured. KP was injured for quite a bit of games at the end.
Yeah, he missed most of the playoffs, or a good portion of them.
Yeah.
They
him and Kawhi.
They didn't need him against the Pacers. Come on now.
True.
Oh, KP. Oh, I'm thinking of PG.
Yeah, no, he's a KP.
KP.
They had the Pacers. Like.
Salute.
Oh, City and Squad.
Yeah. What's the like? What the like looking like? Just 70 tonight.
Oh my god, man!
I gotta change that thumbnail. I put Tom Thibodeau on the thumbnail. I think people just passed it. Wow. Gotta put somebody else on the thumbnail.
Yeah, they don't like Thib. You think?
Well, you're gonna have to put Deuce on there if you want one from Wiz.
Right. Or Jericho. I'm gonna change it to Jericho for the replay game. Anything else before we get out of here? Ooh, Anthony has a question. Would you trade Randall for Davis straight up?
There was a
non-injury, like a healthy Davis.
Is that even a thing? Like,
that's funny. That's funny.
Do we get the ambulance that goes with Davis? Or
is it AD? Is it A for Anthony or A for ambulance? Like which? No,
that's funny.
Straight up for ambulance Davis.
He's got 3 more years in his contract. He's at 43 this year, 54, 58, 62.
Yeah, that's cat money, man. That's
so I mean, right now he's at 43 million. So, a straight up trade wouldn't even be possible.
I'm not doing that.
But I mean, if you were able to keep Mitch and you could talk AD to play in center, yeah.
If we're talking about a healthy Davis, I would.
Davis played a bunch of games last year, didn't he?
He did. He
Play
did. I
like
think he played over
70
70.
games.
He did.
So
If
Not
you had
70, but
Davis for
all right.
70 games, you'd take it, wouldn't you? I
which
mean,
means
and
which
Celtics the
means
points.
next season he's not going to play a lot of games. That's what that means. So I'm not doing that.
I would put the bank on that. Actually, he played 76 games last year.
Right.
Wow.
So the next 2 seasons he's going to play 76 games combined. So whichever way you want to break it up, whichever way you want to split it.
Yeah.
The thing about
40,
healthy
32.
Davis is he could be the best player on the floor when he's healthy. I mean, legit best
pretty
player
good.
on the floor.
He's good.
That's how talented he is.
Legit.
24.7, 2.3 blocks, 3.5 assists, 12.6 rebounds, 81.6 from the line, 27% from three, 55% from the field, 35 minutes a game.
I think you got to do that. If that deal were on the table, I think the Knicks would pull the trigger on that.
Yeah.
I think you have to do. I think you take that chance.
And I think some in the chat is saying that Randall kills Anthony Davis one-on-one, and he might, but we're not playing one-on-one. We're playing as a team, and you have somebody like
I never understand this thing. Like, why do they even say stuff like that? We talk about iHeart. Oh, Embiid killed him. Well, how many times do we play Embiid? Who cares?
Right.
And who doesn't Embiid kill?
Look at the whole
Embiid
body.
kills everyone.
You got to look at the whole body. Like,
I mean, what we could do, and we're just dreaming. It's the end of the show. We're just dreaming right now. What Davis would help Brunson. My goodness.
Mm-hmm.
What our defense would look like: rim protection, 3-point shooting. He could put the ball on the floor. The thing about him is he doesn't always play up to his talent level. Doesn't always play to his talent.
Well, it depends on. Sometimes he does. Sometimes he takes over
He
games.
does,
It depends on the game, and it depends on who his teammates are. But he's
maybe Knicks culture helps that.
Maybe Knicks culture helps that. If you got a locked in Anthony Davis, a wrap. A healthy and locked in Anthony Davis, is not many players better than he is.
The injury bug, though. Oof.
He got the Lakers a title.
If it's not his knee, it's his groin, it's his head, it's like my neck, my back, my.
That's a great question, though, Anthony D. I love it.
That is a great question.
There was another trade out there though that Bleacher Report. I don't want to say they reported it, but they were proposing was Randall for Jabari Smith.
No. I'm gonna do my lunchtime live tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
and it's gonna be all about Randall. And I think the thumbnail says "Stop the Madness." I borrowed that from somebody. Stop the madness. No Randall, no Chip. That's what I'm gonna talk about that tomorrow. So keep your notifications on. Lunchtime, I'll be doing a solo dolo show on
Nice.
on Julius Randle, who's a critical part of the Knicks. The Knicks winning the champion. Critical.
Say it again.
However, if I had an opportunity to trade him for a healthy, locked-in Anthony Davis, I would do it.
Or a better player. If you get a chance to trade him for a better player.
He's one of the few better players that you can get. Like Davis is legitimately a better player than Randall. So it's like there's only a handful of those guys out there, but he's one of them.
I mean, listen, New York Knicks, City and Squad, appreciate you joining with us. You can like a player and feel like he's critical to your team and still trade him for a player that you think is better. I mean, Wilt Chamberlain was traded. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was traded. So it doesn't mean he's not tradable. But I think for this team, for what's available, there isn't Anthony Davis is not available. So if we're gonna win with Julius Randle, and we need him. We need him.
That's the part people.
I think he's underestimated. However, if I get an opportunity to get Anthony Davis healthy, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
We'll send you a
Keyword,
championship ring
healthy.
for your trouble there.
Keyword is healthy. And some and there might be some that's willing to roll the dice even if the health isn't guaranteed. Willing to roll the dice.
How old is AD?
I'm not
old.
sure.
AD is 31.
Oh,
Turns 32 in March.
March 11th. But his health health wise, he's probably like 38.
He's like about 37, 38.
Health wise, he should be 28. I mean, how many games has he played?
But he ain't. But he ain't.
The injuries ages him.
Yeah. Okay. All right. But he wouldn't need to. I agree, Anthony Apollo Williams. He can't carry the Lakers. He wouldn't need to carry the Knicks. He wouldn't need to carry the Knicks.
The Lakers don't have. We have better players than the Lakers. The Lakers don't have a ton of great players.
they have two.
Yeah, 2 and then a bunch of fill-ins. You got D'Angelo Russell shows up every few games or so. He's not, he disappears a few games.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Davis would probably be definitely on the short list for me. He and Giannis and Luka, a couple others are out there, but not a lot of cats out there that I would trade Randall for. That doesn't mean that the Knicks won't. That just means
I don't think they will, man. If they go into training camp with Randall in the lineup, I don't think they're not making that major trade at trade
in the middle of the season, right?
I don't see that.
I don't think he's getting an extension this summer either, though.
Maybe
I don't
not.
think so
I'm
either.
with you on that.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I also read that he was okay with that because he knows the Knicks need a center, and he wants the Knicks to maintain their flexibility as well. And so he's okay going into the season without an extension.
And it also puts him in unrestricted free agency at the end of the year also.
Is it restricted? I thought he was able to. I thought he had a player option next year.
I think he's
but he can define the player option and become an unrestricted free agent, no?
Unrestricted.
Yeah. Unrestricted.
Yeah, if he opts out, he can be unrestricted next season, and then and hopefully he opts out, and then the Knicks give him his contract next season. The Knicks will still be in position to pay him more than anybody else.
True. We have his bird rights for sure. Not just early bird rights like we do with Isaiah. We have full bird rights with him, so it wouldn't be the same situation. We wouldn't be hamstrung as far as what we could offer him. Although I don't think Randall's getting the max from anybody either. So
nope.
Yeah,
he's
and
a
if Randall,
interesting player. Go ahead.
And if Randall is agreeing to not sign the extension, I think there's less of a risk of losing him. Like if it's a mutual decision, as opposed to, oh yeah, I don't want to give me my money. Okay, all right, we're gonna wait till the off season. That's a little different.
I think Randall legitimately likes it in New York too, though. Also, I think he wants to see this work. I think that you heard in the offseason, like he was like chomping at the bit. It was telling him that his shoulder was keeping him out of the playoffs. I think he saw what January was, and he was like, I think we've got something special here, and I want to be a part of it. And so hopefully he comes back and has a great year. Because I think if he comes back and has a really strong year, both teams are going to be motivated to lock him in for the rest of his prime. You know what I mean? It only makes sense if he shows that, he fits well with Bridges and company and is, playing really well in the playoffs. Why would we not want him? You know what I mean? But if he struggles in the playoffs or something like that, then you have questions of, do you invest in him or do you try and look, somewhere else? I don't know.
Wherever you look, you got to bring in somebody with gravity.
Correct.
Because when you think about the amount of work Brunson had to put in without Randall to create for himself and to create for others, it's a lot. Now, maybe Bridges steps up and he can become that guy if Randall is traded or if Randall, gets injured, maybe. But right now, Julius Randle is, other than Brunson, pretty much the only other player on the team with that type of gravity where teams are going to pay attention to, and that opens up shots for other guys. I'm not saying OG can't get his shot. I'm not saying Devo and Mikal Bridges can't, put the ball on the floor and create for themselves and others, but on a consistent basis where defenses are tending to you and sending the players at you, we need somebody other than Brunson to command that type of attention. So, yep. Anything else or any last words?
I don't know if it's the last word, but if you got MSG, man, like we in full replay mode. All right, so yeah, I'm rewatching all the games too. I actually sit here like I don't know the result. I'm fully engaged. I was watching the Minnesota game yesterday. I'm like, what are you doing? Like as if I didn't watch the game before. So I'm in full replay mode right now.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us, Queen. Shuttle, I was so glad you could come on with us. I always appreciate your opinions, and you always make me I appreciate that very much, sir. And Ajay the villain, better late than never.
Yeah.
And salute
But
to
listen,
the chat.
Shuttle, man, plug, man. Your mixtapes.
Oh, I just got the artwork as we were on the call. I just got the artwork, Blend Alert Volume
Where is
2.
it, man? Let's premiere that thing, bro. Come on now.
I just got the artwork as we were on the live tonight. Just got the artwork in. First video is already edited. And what I can do though is I can give you a snippet of what the first blend is going to be that's coming out with the video.
The bars.
But you found the answer. You told me to take this
Dope Soul exclusive. Let's go.
My baby, and all that it has to offer. In time you will see that love won't let you down. You said that you loved me. Said hurt only came to pass.
Yo, AD, what up, fam?
It sounds so convincing.
DJ Shuttle Blend Alert Volume 2.
waste of your love, my baby.
Listen, Blend Alert Volume 2 on the way. Stand by. Stand by, New York City, worldwide. We on the way.
You heard it first. DopeSoulSports Talk.
That's great stuff,
appreciate you.
Shuttle. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
That's
appreciate
awesome.
you, DJ Shuttle. Appreciate you,
Sir.
Ajay,
Sir.
Geoff, the chat, Nick Yak, creeping
Yeah.
in. I see you, Nick Yak. Nick's 100 a GM. I know I ain't gonna get to everybody. Joe Curry, AD in the house, Coach in the house.
Healthy AD.
The healthy AD, right?
I didn't realize Anthony D was my guy and Anthony. Like, that's my guy.
Yeah. That's
No, but not Steph, that's my guy. Like, years, that's my guy. Off of
okay.
long before the Knicks chat. And I didn't, all this time we were on, I saw Anthony D. I didn't realize that was him.
Oh,
That's crazy.
And is my guy, great guy. And I've seen some of his content for sure. He does great takes too.
Okay. So that AK means something, because I was like,
oh, because so my name is Akil, and you know, people that know me call me Ak for short.
Okay.
So you know, he knows DJ Shuttle, but he knows Akil too.
Because I was like, oh, all right. Well, I mean, he got his name wrong, but okay. I mean, I was like, he got his name wrong, but you know, I mean, Shuttle don't seem to be offended. So
nah, because when I realized who it was, then it, you know, because I saw that and I was like, no, so when I see it, I know who people are talking to. I know they're talking to me,
right.
And then that's when they rang. Oh, that's it. My God.
All right.
So y'all got the exclusive. The video is gonna be dropping in a couple of days. I'm coming with theme videos to the blends. That's all I'm gonna say about it. It's gonna be themes. It's not just gonna just be the song, just playing lyric video. Not this, like we doing ill visual concepts with the blends and doing something kind of dope.
Well, hold on. Yo, Knicks 100 GM. Are you in the New York area? Because we might have a standoff right now. we might have something between. Are you trying to challenge DJ Shuttle right now?
That's what it looks like.
That's what I'm seeing right now.
That's what it looks like.
Talk to us, Knicks 100, man. Talk.
Okay. All right. Listen. You know, we can hop, we can invite you to the show.
He insistent too. See that thing, Shuttle? I don't know about that, man. I'll take that personal. That's me.
Right.
Yeah, man. Fortunately, I'm real comfortable and I'm doing very well. So, you know, is as they say, is no sweat on the brow. You know what I mean?
Queen, we do a mix off.
A mix off, right?
A blend off.
Yo, see, my man Ant doing all the talking. My man Ant do Don King and Philly. I don't even gotta say nothing. Yo, Ant, I don't even gotta say nothing, Ant. You heard? All I'm gonna do is be motivated to get right off of this live and go right to work.
Right.
Knicks 100 don't want no smoke.
I appreciate it. I'm already motivated, so but it's nothing like smoke being, thrown your way to get you even more motivated. So thank you very much, sir.
Yeah. And also Fridays, 108 Soul. 108 Soul. Wherever you get your music.
8 to 10. Tell Alexa, tell Siri, play 108 Soul. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, it took me a while to figure that out. I got my little app looking for what was it? iHeartRadio, whatever. And I'm like, I could just say Alexa, play, 108 Soul.
And it was easy as pie.
Easy as pie.
When we kick off the season, next outing, we'll invite Shuttle and Knicks 100 GM to come and go at it.
DJ Shuttle that's how I met DJ Shuttle at the draft parties we would have in MBK, Atlantic City. And he was, DJing. with the jams, little R&B, hip hop from my era. I'm like, check
That's
it
the good
out.
stuff, man. That's the good stuff.
Yeah. For sure.
Anything between 85 and 2000 is great.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Appreciate the chat. Appreciate the replay
Hit the like button on the way out.
game. Your notification. I'll be doing a lunchtime show. All things Julius Randle.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing that.
Yep, so am I. So am I.
Tomorrow. Till next time, fam.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's her.
shine. Don't stop.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't stop.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't stop.
What?